What did we do? Okay, so I guess we were working with understanding of the instructions, correct? So I showed you how to execute the Docker. So we started from here, right? So we understood the Docker file and we have written a sample code. And also we have worked upon execution process. And we saw the two types of instructions, executable and non-executable. And I explained you the difference between them. And we started covering the from instruction, run instruction, CMD, expose, and env. So that is what we covered yesterday. Now today we'll proceed with further instructions. So the next most important instruction after that is sixth one is add. Okay. What is this add instruction? So let us see what is this add. So this add instruction, so let me put it on board. Okay, this is important data. Hold on. Save. Yes. So let's see here. So copy instruction, sorry, add instruction is capable of two things. The first one is if you have a file on the Docker host, right? So you have some application or some data or some file on your Docker host, that means on the server, and you want this file a copy of this. So I'm telling copy, see, not move. Copy of the file to go and sit in the image, then you have to say copy instruction. So copy is like you have to give the source where the file is and you have to give the destination. Now, most of the people fail to understand the destination part here. So let's say on my, just an example, guys. So I have a file under /opt. Imagine there is something called xyz.txt file. And I want this file to be transferred. So which is sitting on the server, this file. And this file I want to transfer into the image. So let's say the image may be CentOS. And I want this to be transferred into the CentOS image at /var. So how do I do it? So this is how we need to write. So copy, the source is nothing but this metric. So we'll say /opt/xyz.txt, give a space, and the destination is /var. So /var. Got it? So this is how you need to write for the, this is the first benefit. Second use case here is, the second use case can be like, you have an add instruction where again you have the source, okay, source and destination. So how do you write it? Now the second use case is useful for, the reason can be, the source may be a URL, guys. Your file is not sitting on the server. The source is definitely sitting, it's a web link, or it is sitting somewhere on the network, or it is a URL. So let's say add, you put the URL link and the destination should be inside the image. So maybe at /opt. So the relevant example, just see it here. So that means add is capable of doing two things, whether it is sitting on the server or it is on the web. So it's on the server or on the web, it is capable of transferring such file onto the inside of the image at the destination. So look into these examples, whatever I highlighted. See, I want this so and so file So definitely this file must be there on the server, and this file I'm trying to transfer into the image at this location. So first use case example. And the second use case example is this. Okay. Second example is this. Okay. So you can see I'm giving the link add. You just give the link and put it in /opt. So add will say, we'll put in this and put it in /opt. That means I'm getting, see the example guys. So I'm trying to get some Jenkins file from the internet and I'm putting this under /opt. So that is the example number 2. Are we clear on this? Both example number 1 and 2. So add is capable of, it's something like transferring a file guys. If you want the file to come and sit in the image, maybe a file or an application or a dependency which you have on your server, you can use the add command, or if the file is sitting somewhere on the internet, you can use the URL. But the destination should be inside the image. So that's the use of add. Now next candidate is copy. So this also does the same work, but there is a small difference. Okay. So let's see what is that difference. Copy command. Right. So the use of the copy is, copy also has the same capability, but it can only do one thing. So copy can only handle this part. That's it. The use case number 1. Because if you see here, this is the first use case, right? So we know that this is the first use case, correct? And we know that this is the second use case. What I'm trying to tell you is, copy is capable of doing only the first use case, not the second. So that means copy syntax looks like this. So copy, source, and a destination. Now what it can do? So if the source must be whatever the file of the source must be there on the server, and it can transfer that file or copy the file into the destination. So that is what copy can do. Now, if I ask a simple question, guys, both are capable of doing the same thing in the first use case, but in the second use case, this part, okay, this part, definitely only add can do, copy cannot do. Now, if I ask a question, let's say, I have some file on internet somewhere on the GitHub, and I want that file to come and sit into my image. Or let's say you have some file in some S3. Just an example, guys, somewhere in the storage, not on the server, somewhere on the storage somewhere. So I want that file to come and sit on my image. So which instruction will you guys use, guys? Tell me. Which instruction will you use? So is it add or is it copy? What will you do? Quick, guys. So you are supposed to use add, right? So that's the answer. Now next question. If you have a file which is sitting on the same server, which of the following instructions will you? Is it an add or a copy? I repeat the question. If I have a file sitting on the server, will you use a copy instruction or will you use an add instruction? Or you can use both. What is the right answer? Both. You can try both. That's the right answer. Because the same can be done by add, the same can be done by copy also. But if it is some web URL, definitely add you are supposed to use. So this is another most popular questions in Docker's case. If they ask you some questions on instructions, the most important is run and thereafter CMD. And the next most is add and copy only. They will try to trouble you in understanding of this. Add 2 use cases, copy only 1 use case. That's it. The next, let us move on. The next instruction is 8, entry point. This is the entry point. Interesting. So what is this entry point stuff? So this is one more area, a lot of, I mean to say, techies don't get this stuff into their brains. So let's see how you guys will feed this into your brain. Okay, so entry point. So when a container takes birth, whatever the first task that you want to give to a container, because what is a container? Container will imagine like an application with its dependency. It is nothing but a small processing unit, or you can say it's a mini operating system. These are all alias names I'm using to make you understand. So as soon as the container takes birth, you have to give an activity for it. So that activities, whatever the activities that you're trying to plan in the container, you can declare. But as soon as it takes birth, the first activity that you want to get it done right away, that you have to feed it into the entry point. So this situation somewhat looks similar to the end concept of boot. In Windows, I'm sure everybody uses Windows operating systems here. In Windows, you have boot up applications. Did you heard this? As soon as you log in, some applications will run. Did you heard? Yes or no, guys? As soon as you log in into the computer, some applications will start running behind. So those are boot applications, or you are configured at the boot time. That's a meaning there. So the same logic applies here. So when you are working with the containers, you might have a lot of things in that, but you want to feed right away what should be the first activity for it. So that first activity, you have to put it into the entry point. Clear? The entry point is the place where, just see an example here. So I said entry point and opt xyz.sh. So xy.sh is nothing but, see guys, it's an imagination that under /opt, I have a xyz file with an extension called .sh. Any file which has an extension .sh is nothing but script file. That means I'm telling to the container that as soon as you come up or as soon as you take life, I'm asking the container, please execute this as your first priority. So entry point is deciding the first priority task when container starts. Are we clear on this? Confirm, guys. So this exactly you need to have a knowledge like a Windows boot services only. Okay, nice. And the next one is volume. So volume. Okay. So what is this volume stuff? So let's see. So volume talks about, so I'll draw a diagram so that you'll understand. Let me clear everything. Delete. So let's say, imagine you have some data. Okay, some data. This star is a data, and this data is sitting upon our server, and I want this data to be command set or mapped. Map, guys, you need to understand map. There's a difference between a copy and a map. So I want this data folder. Imagine that there is a folder, there is a lot of data in it. I want the data to be mapped here. So that means from the image. So from the image, definitely we know that we create containers, right? So let's imagine 2 containers. So that means if you map this data folder into the image, definitely when the container takes birth, you can also access this. That is what I'm trying to tell you. So this is exactly equal to the concept of network drive mapping. Maybe the people who worked in Windows network, they'll be aware. So network drive mapping. Got it? Understood, guys, what I'm trying to tell you? Network drive. Did you heard network drive mapping in Windows? Confirm. Guys, are you aware of network drive mapping in Windows? So yeah, I recommend you to just make a note of this word and watch some YouTube video on this, because this is nothing but or a best example is your class notes only. See, I'm updating the class notes Google Drive. Imagine like this is a data. So this is exactly the same example. The class notes is your data and you guys are accessing the data. So if I update the data, you will see it. You understood, right? So, but you can, at this point of time, you have only the access to read only. But in this use case, we are talking about the use case of both read and write. So what happens is that is nothing but the data is mapped here and to the container. So you can access the data from the container also. You can update it, you can update, delete, everything. So it is nothing but it is something like a shared concept, shared drive. Clear? It is, this logic looks like a shared drive. So the data is sitting and you're trying to share it to your container and everything is live sync. Are we clear now, Kavya? Everything is live sync. Got it? So that is the volume concept. Or in simple words, the people say that if you have some data on your Docker server and I want this data to be mapped into my container, so everything is should be mapped, then you have to use volume tag. Or whatever you want to write it or access from the container onto your server also, you have to use volume tag. So that is what. The next is work dir, one of the easiest one here. So this guy is super easy, no much explanation required. The reason is this is so simple. So let me update the colorings. 10th one. Okay, so what is work dir? So work dir is as simple as cd command of your Linux. I hope everybody knows the cd command, correct? What is the cd command in Linux? What is the cd command in Linux, guys? Change directory. What is the use? What is the use of change directory? So if you are sitting in one directory, we are trying to move to the another directory, right? So that is called work dir. So that's the use of work dir, guys. So see the example. Just see an example, guys. In the image, you just see this first, understand this line. I copied a file from the server and I kept it into the image at this location. Okay. Once I kept this file into that location, I am going into that location, see, work dir. Or instead of this, and if you write in Linux style, we say cd. But since we want to write in Docker style, we say work dir. So it is exactly true. So that means my point will transfer or the cursor position transfers to the /opt data, or I'm saying that I'm changing my directory position to the /opt to the /data. So once I go there, I'm saying just say run touch india.txt. That means at this point, it will create a file called india.txt. So that's the use of work dir. Okay, the next 11th instruction. Okay. So the 11th one. So the 11th instruction is maintainer, which is non-executable. You can take it light. The reason is going forward, you may not have this instruction at all. So what is the use of maintainer? Generally, we use this maintainer instruction just to feed our names, as we already saw in the sample example, right? So let me get the sample example for you. Yeah, let me get this. So in this piece of code, generally we use a maintainer to describe who has written this code and whom to be contacted if there is any trouble with this coding, or who has written this. So this is a line I'm talking about. Generally, people also feed the names, or people feed the email IDs, or people feed the telephone numbers also. I saw some use cases where in the maintainer where they feed the names, telephone numbers, email IDs also. Clear? Fine. The last instruction is label. So what is the use of label? So you can give the labels of the image, or you can say this is exactly useful to create the tags when the image creating itself. So this is also non-technical. So going forward also you will see that this is missing. So it's not called headings. Basically, these are all labels we can create for reference. So going forward, you'll see this also going away. So that's what happens. Now, 1 second. Okay. Fine. So I'll refer all the instructions in simple words. From to get your libraries or base image, run whatever you want the action to happen upon the image, use run. And if you want whatever the action to happen upon the container, use CMD. Expose is for the ports, env is to set up the environment, add is to get the files, copy is to copy the files into the image, entry point the startup, volume is to sync the data, workdays change directory, maintainer, and label. So these are all the different instructions which we generally use in our use case of the Docker's case. So for your benefit, I'll show one Docker file with me. Okay. So that you'll know how the people write. You just see the Docker file, guys, or I'll show some sample, small one. Okay. Just me see this small one. You see, whatever you learned, everything is there here. In my project also, you can see. From instruction is there. Okay. From work dir, copy, again run, again from, again copy, again CMD. So you saw the live example, right? Or let's see any other Docker file, some other application. This is in GCP actually, connecting to the GCP. So you can see from, see copy, run. See the instructions, guys. Logic is different. Always logic will be definitely the use case of the project only, but you need to know how the use cases are there. See the run, right? And if I scroll down, I don't see anything, only run, copy, right? I'll open up another one. Just randomly I'll select. So let's say I'll go with this. You see, copy from Docker. So that is what I keep on telling you. 95% of use cases, whatever you just learned, you will only use this, guys. From, run, CMD, export, these are all majorly used instructions. So entire logic you have to develop by them only. Now, keeping that in mind, so we'll go ahead and do our Docker project, guys. So Docker project. So this is a web link where we are going to do a sample project. So in this link, a lot of projects are there right from Docker also. There's an official Docker project from Docker company. And a lot of projects are given here, up to 10 projects are given. I am going to do one and you guys have to try out the other things, guys. Now, when you do your projects here, you have to make sure that you have to read this, guys, because that is where the knowledge will come. So please read the documentation. If you see and open the page, don't get panic. Read once and twice. Once and twice. So once, twice, or thrice, definitely you'll understand. Now here it is telling that before you do anything here, it is asking us to install Docker locally, which I already done, and follow the instructions to download and install the Docker, install Git client. Okay, everything is ready. Whatever they are talking, everything is ready with us. So let's get started. So before you run the application, you need to get the application source from on your computer. Okay. So clone the getting repository using this below command. So they asking us to clone it. Okay. So let's copy this. Maybe the project is sitting here. So what we'll do? So we'll click on this and see where the project is. So this is the actual project. Okay. So the project is sitting in the GitHub, right? So what we'll do now? So we'll go ahead and clone this and get it onto our machine. So is this machine is up? Okay. So 192, no, hold on guys. I'm not at my home today. So network, service network stop. Service network start. NMTUI. I want to see what's the new IP address I get here. Hostname hyphen capital I, it is 9. Okay. So it is 192.168.1.9. Accept. I'll say root. Put the password. Now let's begin the project. We'll say increase the font size. Increase the font size. Yep. Okay, we'll just follow the instructions, guys. Our duty is to read and follow. So they're asking us to clone it. Yeah, I'll do that thing. I'll say git clone and put it here. Press enter. What I should do? Tell me, guys, what we should do. What I should do? So we should. Yeah, we should install, guys. Install the Git. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Yum install Git. So we're trying to install the Git. Press Y. You know today what happened in my project? You wanna know? Yes or no? From morning, almost like 11:30, I am on call till your class 8:45. From morning, you can believe 11:30, I won escalation call after a long time sitting for longer hours. You can believe even I did not get up for lunch. I was having lunch at my desk only. So from 11:30 till almost like 8:45 till your class time, I was in still the call is going on. I came out of the call to take your class. So one silly mistake of a lady costed this longer hours. Generally, that work will be finished in 3 to 4 hours, and that went up to 8 to 9 hours because one costly mistake. Last night also similar mistake was done by some on-site technician. and on-site guys sat for almost till morning 4 o'clock. So for them also it is like time waste activity. For us also it's a time waste activity. So one guy from on-site and one lady from Indian team did the mistake. So I kept on telling that lady to update the passwords correctly. 3 to 4 times I took her into the call and I kept on telling, please do the passwords update correctly. She told me she did. That's what she kept on telling me. Finally, she forgot one password to update in the database. And we updated some environment configs and pushed the deployment and all failed. All 75 applications went down. That's the reason we had to sit in call. All 75 apps are down. So still some apps are down. So in the integration environment, see, 1 second, let me check what is the live status. All applications became up. What is this 62 still stopped? Why it is not getting updated? Okay, this is right value. You see, 74. One more application is there. So in total, 75 is the head count. All are up, no zero down. So morning, everything went down because of some small mistake. So she forgot to set up the password for one of the user ID where all the apps will use that ID. So that was a costly mistake. It's the entire time waste activity of 3 to 4 hours. So what is the learning, guys? What is the learning? No, we can't give warning. So in this use cases, what company will do is, generally we drop an email not to do it, not to repeat this one time. Again, we'll drop an email. Email will go for sure. We'll drop an email saying not to repeat this once again, not to do these technical mistakes, but definitely this will be a remark on her. And when we go for a discussion about their performance and everything, this remark will come into the picture. You understood now what I'm talking, guys? This is a remark. That's it. A mark on her work technicality. So whenever discussions happen on performance, so we'll bring up this point saying that, okay, on that day, this was a mistake, which was 3 to 4 hours of productivity of entire team was wasted. So this kind of things will happen, just to be cautious. Okay, so let's go back to our subject. So we got it, clone. So clone is ready. And what we have to do, yeah, once the clone is over, I mean to say, I guess it is installed, we need to clone. Cloning is going on. It's done. So project is ready. That is getting started is the project name, because that is what the repo name. You can see when we open up the repo, the name of the project seems to be getting started, right? Now I got it. Now we have to follow the directions. So what does next point say? It says that once you're done with your cloning, view the contents of the clone repository, go inside and look for app directory. Okay, so let's go there. So CD into the getting started and you look into the apps directory. Yeah, this is an app. Then CD into the app, you check here what it is saying. What it is saying, guys? So what does point say? You should see a directory. You should see package.json and two subdirectories, src and spec. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I see package.json and two subdirectories. Nice. Then what they are asking us to do now, in the app directory, in the same location file where you see the package.json, create a file called Docker file. Okay, let's create the file. That means once you see the visibility of package.json, they're asking us to create a package.json. No, file. Docker f a small file. Done, created. Then what's next? Right? Then in that Docker C touch is done. In that using text editor, are gonna use the following contents. Okay, they're asking us to put this into that file. Copy this and put it into that file. Where is that file? Yeah, open this and say Docker file. Escape I and paste it. So it's done. So once you paste it, we have to save and close. So we're not focusing on the coding yet because we're just following them. So once that is done, the next thing is they're asking us to go ahead and build the image. Okay. So they already given the command. So they given the command like this, guys. You can see here. What is that command? Docker build -t getting started dot. So this can be written like this also. So hyphen, I guess, tag. You can also write like this. Okay. You can also write like this. Okay. And you can also write like this. So it's up to us how you write, because they have written in a short format. Okay, Docker build or Docker image build, it's a one and the same. So I'll go with them. So if the image gets generated, it will create with a name called getting started, right? So what we'll do is we'll just put one word extra, 31B getting started, nothing else. In the name, I just added 31B for your batch. I went there and pasted, press enter. Now in the total in the Docker file, it saw 6 lines of code, and it is trying to go ahead with implementing all the 6 lines and see how far the coding is right. So first line is going for execution. Second is also going for execution. Third is going for execution, done. Fourth is going on now. We got an error. What is this? Definitely this is an error. What is it? An unexpected error occurred. So why like that? IPv4 forwarding is disabled, networking will not work. Why? Just let changing the little code and see how far it works. Bin bash not found. Okay. So if mhm. So did we apply? I think I got similar error in the last batch. We ran that perfectly. Okay, or is it this with the router here? Warning only, not an error. So resolving the packages info. If you think it's a plus, please open the okay. Visit and install for documentation for this unexpected error occur where the command yarn install is not working or what. I need to search on the internet, guys. Is this problem on my machine or somewhere we have to find? So these are all live bugs. We have to fix it. So I need to put in a notepad and figure it out what is the right keyword I have to search. So let me try this. So any clue from your side, guys? Those are from Node.js background. Any clue who is on? No idea. Okay, so what is this? When it occurred? Mhm. Okay, IP tables are not maintained, I hear. Mm-hmm. Okay, just hold on, guys. I have a doubt on the router. So I'm switching to my mobile internet. So you will see the fluctuation in the connection. Just hold on for a minute. Okay. Sorry with me. I just switched the network to my mobile. Please confirm if you guys are with me. Yes or a no. Is it